Okay. So a joke always gets funnier when you try to explain it, so I'm just going to explain it.
Yeah.
You're listening to WNYO on 88.9 FM, Laker Radio your way. This is Will's Fantasy Hour. I'm your host, DJ William. Welcome, everybody, to a Rocky show.
Oh, boy. Yeah, already.
And joining me is Paul Emerald.
Sup?
And Thomas Beck.
Yo.
So, my original plan for this was supposed to start up with some German folk music, and then I would be like, Guten Tag, welcome to Will's Folk Hour.
Wow, how
on
could you?
WNYO 88.9 FM.
Was machst du dann?
Yes, and then you guys would be like, what? What
Bist du verrückt? I'm asking if you're crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
But, Tom, you speak German?
I speak German, yeah.
Excellent.
I think I said this to you.
You might have.
I'm literally minoring in German, and I'm taking 202 this semester.
I have a terrible memory.
Yeah, but I've been doing it since 7th grade, and the college version of German is much different than the high school version.
I had a feeling. Yeah.
Much faster.
Anyway, so the joke was going to be that I start saying it's folk, and then you guys would be like, what? What's going on? And then I'm like, have you not heard the news? We have been rebooted. We are a folk show now.
Ooh.
And then it would be like, what? And then I would be like, no, I'm just kidding. We're still a rock show. We're still talking about fantasy and science fiction and whatnot. And that would lead me into my topic for today, rebooting.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about reboots, not the 1990 Canadian Kids show with the 3D CG and whatnot. You ever heard of that?
No.
You ever heard of the show Reboot?
I have not.
I have not. Nope.
I mean, what are some Canadian shows I have heard of, though? I'm trying to think.
Total Drama Island.
Totally, yeah, that's Canadian. I forgot.
Yeah, it was made in Canada.
I completely forgot that's Canadian.
I know. It's crazy.
I'll say probably another show's like 16.
16 was Canadian.
Made by the same studio.
Literally, Are You Afraid of the Dark or the Goosebumps movies? Those are Canadian.
Yeah.
But it's also like, if you look at those titles, they are like, not the title cards, like the, what the heck are they called?
Credits?
Credits. They're like filled with Canadian.
Yeah, I have it.
It's just ridiculously Canadian.
They're just filled with Canadianisms.
Yeah, it's like maple syrup just pouring all over the place. What do you think? It's not blood. It's not monster blood. It's maple syrup. That's a true monster here.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I figure we talk about some reboots today. Because, reboots are like a thing that constantly happens because it feels like Hollywood feels the need to take their properties that worked and then reboot them later and then be like, we're going to make a lot of money off of this. But most of the time it doesn't come out well and people don't like them.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Dumbo. I didn't watch the Dumbo reboot.
Oh, the Dumbo reboot?
The recent one?
Remember? Okay, so me and Paul, we work on a TV show together. Like, we're crew members for The Real Deal at WTOP. And I'm like the assistant producer. He's the floor manager. We were listening to the guys on the show talk about Dumbo, and one of the guys, Connor, went up to review.
He said like the child actors were horrible and they just didn't really do anything good.
But the way he put it, and like he said this in such like a really threatening way. What was it again?
I believe it was fire their agents, make sure they work in Hollywood ever again and sue their parents.
Yeah.
And if no one does, I'm going to.
You should have seen his face, just deadpan face, staring right into the camera.
Those are some bold words.
Yeah.
But clearly he felt very strongly about it, and honestly I don't blame him, because how dare you remake one of the greatest Disney movies of all time.
Yeah.
Dumbo.
Like,
iconic, classic, timeless, except for the racist crows. We'll give Disney that.
I love how you described it timeless, but then I was about to interject with Jim Crow. Literally Jim Crow.
Yeah. That's one of their names. Yeah.
No, that's what the boss's name is. Jim Crow.
Oh, I thought
he's the one that's like, he's the one that has the cigar or whatnot, because of course.
Yeah. And then the only thing it really had going for it, and this wasn't even like good, it was just like kind of disappointing. Danny DeVito was in the movie, and that's all it really had going for it.
Danny DeVito is always a delight, I think, and no matter what he's in, he's just like, oh, cool, it's Danny DeVito.
But a movie like this,
Yeah, from Trash Man to the Penguin, he's always a delight to have in a movie.
Was he?
What?
Was he the Penguin?
Yeah, he was the Penguin in like one of like the early like Batman movies, like back when.
He was in Batman Returns.
What?
The Catwoman one?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the one you're talking about.
The Catwoman one where she was a crazy zombie lady?
I am looking
Zombie
this
lady?
up.
Yeah. Remember, I don't know if you've seen Batman Returns, but Catwoman isn't just like a cat thief. She's like a crazy Catwoman, like a crazy cat person, and then she gets like crushed under a pile of garbage mixed with radioactive waste or something, and then she becomes Catwoman, and then she wears the cat suit, but also it's like weird stapled together pieces of black leather. Like it's
a patchwork Catwoman.
patchwork, yes.
Oh, Paul,
my
you are
God.
right, by the way. Danny DeVito was the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Oh yeah, I remember one line of his. I played this city like a violin from like a harp from hell or something.
Oh.
Ooh.
Which is because he's trying to become mayor or something.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And the other thing that Dumbo had going for it was Michael Buffer. Like,
if you're unfamiliar with that, he's the guy in
not WWE, but like big boxing events. He's always like the announcer. Like, let's get ready to rumble. You know that guy?
the guy that like
Oh,
really
that
rolls
guy.
his R's.
I
like,
do like that
amazing.
guy.
Yeah, but in Dumbo, he said, let's get ready for Dumbo.
Ah.
Oh my gosh, that's
That
so
killed me.
bad.
It's so
I
bad.
know.
But it's funny. I will give it that. It's very funny.
Yeah. Of course, I just used Michael Buffer. Perfect, but it was that movie was just like,
Yeah, no, I totally get you. All right, so reboots. Here we go. The first reboot that I wanted to talk about, and kind of the one that inspired this whole list for today, is Hellboy 2019, which just recently came out.
oh yeah. And I also heard from the guys from The Real Deal that it wasn't as good as they were hoping it would be. In fact, not really that good at all.
Nope, it was not that good at all.
Yeah, I just had a meeting with them yesterday about this.
Yeah,
About,
I also have some sources who I trust about movies and such, and he said that it is definitely not the worst thing that's ever been made, but a definite step down from the first and second film, and
imagine.
especially when you have so many elements that are good and can definitely be used to make something great. How do you mess it up this much?
Yeah.
You just do, apparently. You just do.
Yeah, you do. But I trust this source, even though I haven't seen it myself. They say it has some bad elements. One of their specific phrases was they copied an element from Vin Diesel's The Last Witch Hunter, and if you're doing that, you've officially hit rock bottom.
Excuse me, what?
Vin Diesel's The Last Witch Hunter.
I've never even heard of that movie before.
It's not a good
same.
movie.
I didn't think it was. I mean, The Witch Hunter,
I've heard
Vin
of-
Diesel. I don't think that fits.
I've heard of
together in
Riddick,
my
but that's
head.
just like him just being a dude that sees in the dark and just kills people because he's really good at that.
Yes.
He's also a wheel man. I'm the wheel man.
Yeah. But it had no focus. Like, remember how, did either of you see Aquaman?
Yes.
You
No,
know
I
how
didn't.
it tried to do too many things at once? It tried to tell all of the Aquaman stories, like, at once, and that made it so, like, the plot was
Yeah,
just...
like it was like the plot was a bit chunky, but like at times, but like a little bit chunky, but like it still was an okay movie by all
Right.
regards.
Yes. This one has the same problem. Like, there's a lot of Hellboy stories. He has, like, a long history in the comics, and they just felt like they tried to cram way too much into this.
Yeah.
And the elephant in the room, David Harbour as Hellboy, did not look good, and he was not very interesting compared to the rest of his co-stars. I mean, if you look, to be fair, no one could replace Gene Simmons. No, not Gene Simmons.
Oh, no, wait. Gene
Ron
Simmons?
Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Thank you very much. Anyway,
I didn't have it written down. So it's just, anyway.
Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons. The man says
interesting.
Gene Simmons. It's Ron Perlman.
no.
It's
Yeah,
Ron
but if
Perlman,
you-
the man
It
that
is
tells
Ron.
you that war never changes and most of the fallouts.
Yes,
Which
that's
is
what
awesome.
he does.
And if you want to, as well, with The Real Deal, they're going to review, tomorrow night, they're going to review Hellboy. It's going to be live 10 o'clock tomorrow, 10 p.m., sorry. So if you want to go watch it, people on campus, WTOP channel 10.2. I don't know what it is off campus. Yeah, they're just going to review the movie and we'll see what they feel. I already
Man.
know two of them don't have a good perspective on it, but
Tom, you've been really good with those shameless plugs. Like, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I do those all the time. Really good. Next movie that I want to talk about, Planet of the Apes 2001.
Wait, is that the one with the weird kiss?
Yes. Those are the one where people in ape costumes kiss. And it's weird.
Jeez.
It is very weird.
Okay, yeah, that's all I need to know about
I think
it.
I might.
Enough
I
said.
think I may remember that
Also,
one as well.
Mark Wahlberg is in it, and no offense to Mark Wahlberg.
Marky
but
Mark.
Yeah, Marky Mark does not look like he belongs in a Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah, honestly.
And it's just, I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
I could never see Mark Wahlberg in a movie like that, honestly.
Yeah. And it's Earth in the future, and
Yeah,
it's
of
terrible,
course.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
Then there's Wicker Man, 2006, starring Nicolas Cage.
Not
the
bees.
bees.
Not the Bees. Classic, yeah. So the original Wicker Man was supposed to be, like, creepy and scary and, like, cults and societies, and where the main guy loses in the end because the power of suggestion is just far too strong, and that's cool.
I feel like with this version, it's just Nick Cage.
Yeah, no, it's Nick Cage.
It's Nick Cage entirely.
Anything Nick Cage touches turns to memes. most everything he
like
touches
we said, not the bees.
turns to memes. It's not the same, I will say, but
Yeah.
clearly people have found comedic value in it, and the image of Nick Cage in a bear costume punching women in the face, like, that's good.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
All of that. More bear costumes, more assaulting women.
More Nick Cage memes,
More Nick
really.
Cage.
That's all we need.
Yes. Let's see. Then there's 2017's The Mummy.
I didn't really hear much good about that.
No. I don't know if you've seen the original Mummy, the 1999 version with Rick Moranis? No.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so.
I'm really screwing myself over by not writing these names down in advance.
Look it up. You have
Yeah.
a computer right in front of you.
I do. It's running very slow.
And a phone. Oh, yeah. I forgot. You said your computer was being a bit screwy with you.
It's quite screwy.
Well,
the only thing that I'm trying to say is that the original 1999 Mummy was like an action thriller with one of your lackadaisical protagonists who doesn't have stakes in anything, but then he meets someone who changes his life and then also brings forth super cursed artifact that like could end the world, and then he's like, well, I guess I gotta do something about this.
Yeah.
And then it's a journey, and there's mummies and guns and good supporting characters and relatively awful CGI. But it was like 2001,
Yeah.
1999, so that's understandable. And then also, there's a bit where you see someone dump an entire jar full of voracious man-eating beetles into a coffin and then steal that coffin. I'm like, that's a disturbing image.
awesome.
It's a real bad image that will haunt my dreams. And the
I
Mummy
love it.
I love it. No, it's good. Mummy 2017 doesn't have any of that. It's just so boring and bland.
It also likes Brendan Fraser.
It does lack Brandon Fraser, who I love, but it does have Sophia Boutella, who played the Mummy, who I love her as an actress. I think she's really good, but she was not the right person to cast for this feature. And also, she dies in the majority of the things that she's ever been in, movie that she's ever been in. I don't know if you noticed, if you know that.
Hey,
I mean, in this one, she's
Sophia
already
Boutella.
dead.
Okay, you ever see Atomic Blonde?
No. I'm gonna look her up right now as you like talk
Okay.
about her.
But in this movie, she's already dead.
Yeah, she's
from
dead.
the beginning because
Yes.
she's a mummy.
And then she died again.
she
of
died.
the-
She died when she died, or after she died.
Yeah, dead twice.
Dead. Yes. Dead. Dead squared.
Yes. Okay.
the one.
Okay. You ever remember Kingsman?
Kingsman. I feel like I do. I
Oh,
don't
is
know.
she the girl with prosthetic legs?
She's the one with the prosthetic legs.
All right, yeah. She's one with prosthetic legs that like chops people in half.
Yeah, she dies in that too.
Hotel Artemis, I assume, dies.
Yeah.
Star Trek Beyond
No,
dies.
she doesn't actually. She makes it through that one.
Huh.
It's barely. She has an end credit sequence where she's like protecting the hotel or something.
Street Dance 2 dies.
I'm just saying, it's in the majority of things I've seen her in. She dies.
I just want to find more movies that aren't at all dance challenge dead.
Makes sense, right?
Fahrenheit 451. Ooh, they made a movie.
They
of
made a
this?
movie on that.
Of course they would make a movie about that. It's like it's a great book, and they love making novelizations of books.
Yeah, novelizations of books.
Apparently, the critics didn't like this movie.
Well, of course not.
I actually never read Fahrenheit 451.
All you just need to know is that, like, this society's against reading. Firemen set books on fire.
Yeah, I was about to say, it has something to do with, like, setting something on fire, right?
Yes.
Yes, books, because Fahrenheit 451 is the exact temperature in which paper combusts.
Yeah, that's what I remember hearing, something like that.
Yeah. And also, remember, guys, this is the movie that Paramount thought was going to set up the Dark Universe.
What's that supposed to mean?
It was supposed to be their own extended universe of films, tying together multiple movies with monsters such as The Mummy and Frankenstein and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And it didn't work.
Awesome. That's what I was expecting you to say.
Shot that in the face immediately.
Yeah, what about the It reboot? We can talk about that?
The It reboot?
The It reboot.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to talk about that, but I will talk about it because that's a good reboot.
Yeah, that's actually a good reboot.
That's the first good one we have now.
One thing I actually enjoyed about that is that it has like things that children would genuinely be afraid of. Like, yeah, kids are afraid of the mummy, the Frankenstein's monster, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, this is just a weird painting.
Yeah.
This is a picture of a kid without a head. Every kid's gonna be afraid of. A kid would be afraid of that. Like that. Oh, here's a zombie. Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like that, kid. But yeah, it's basically. I do enjoy how. But also, like, I remember like there's this one interview where the guy who played Pennywise, the monster. He was like, these child actors are so good at their jobs. I mean, I'm just like, at one point, I'm just do this one scene where I was like threatening him, saying I'm going to kill him, I'm going to gut him, and all this stuff. And the kid starts crying, and I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my god, I'm scarring this kid. And then after the director calls cut, I'm like, hey, are you all right? And he just says, I love what you're doing with the character. I love what you're doing with the character. You're doing a good job.
Ah, that is sweet.
I swear, child actors are like adults, like the way they act.
Child
Because they have
actors
to be so professional.
Yeah, we've got some good child actors nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
bless 'em.
Unlike some of those that starred in Dumbo.
Yeah. Or, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin?
Macaulay Culkin.
What's Macaulay Culkin?
No,
Home Alone.
who's Macaulay Culkin?
Home Alone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's Kevin.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you didn't know who that was.
No, I just remembered who
Oh,
he
you
was.
just- oh, yeah,
I just
okay.
remembered the last I saw him, like, he was on a YouTube, he was on this YouTube series, A Modern Rogue, where, like, he's doing blood spatter analysis and, like, just messing around with, like, hydrogen balloons.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Hydrogen.
Cool.
Because, why not reenact the Hindenburg?
Yeah.
Right. Then there's a bunch of small ones that I don't really want to talk about, but I think need worth mentioning. The 2007 reboot of Halloween, directed by Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I heard that wasn't particularly that great.
Yeah, you spend 40 minutes with Michael Myers as a child. Well, not like as the same age child, but like growing up, and you can see him growing his murderous intent and wanting to stab people, and people have said that completely eradicates his mystery as just a stocky boy.
A
Stocky boy?
Yeah, he's the stocky boy.
He's a stocky boy.
He is.
Oh my-
He stalks. I don't know if you've seen the Halloween movies.
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah, of
definitely
course,
does
of
do
course.
that.
He gets technically his technical nickname is The Shape, but I'm like, I prefer Stocky Boy.
Stocky boy.
He's the stocky boy.
He does a
stalks.
stock.
Stocky boy. Like, I just, you now just turned him into just a joke with that name.
He's just a little stocky
It's just
boy.
him. He was like, oh, look, it's a stocky boy. And
Oh,
he's like,
no one could see that.
and he'd just be like, and
You could do that for any horror icon, and it would just totally work. Like, let's take an example. Freddy Krueger. Oh, look, it's Sweater Boy.
Sweater boy, sweater boy.
Or Jason Voorhees. Hey, look, it's Mask Boy.
Yeah, it's Mask Boy.
Oh my gosh, Jason Voorhees. Honestly, though, like, I guess he's like one of the very few like sympathetic slasher villains. Jason Voorhees, at least in his beginning stages, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
before they made him into a
I can
murder
totally
zombie.
understand wanting to come back and murder like 5 or 6 kids after you've been dead for a while. That one I totally get.
Yeah, just be like,
Once
oh.
your journey extends to over 50 and then also space, like, you might have gone a little far.
Yeah.
It's like, Quickly, I must go to space to kill people in space.
Because that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
ISS, I'm coming for you.
oh my gosh. I remember, like, actually in Jason X, one of, like, the lines is, he's wearing a hockey mask. Hockey has been banned because of safety issues or something.
Oh, yeah. Jason X is a terrible movie, but it's so good in so many different ways.
It's so self-aware, too. Like, one time the guy's, like, made a joke about how he wants to date girls or whatever, but they're, like, annoying or whatnot, and he's like, I'm so lonely.
That is amazing. Let's see. Next movie, 2014's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do I need to say more?
Oh
No.
my
This
god.
movie was directed by Michael Bay. That's all you need to know.
All right, fair enough.
The turtles look like disgusting, and Shredder was recast halfway through, so he's just a generic Asian guy in the shadows, and it's just gross and bad. And yeah, moving on.
To be fair, the original movies, like, I remember one where it's just like there's actually this one one like website YouTube series I watched called Cracked, and it like this one guy's like talking about like how imagine you're a teenager in New York City that just like wants to find a place to like hang out with other teens, and you get hooked up by these one guys who call themselves like they call themselves the Foot Gang or something like that. It was not the Hand Gang.
The Foot Gang.
Foot Clan.
Foot Clan.
The Foot Clan. And they're like, hey, I want to smoke up with methanol and regular. But then this one dude just takes you into a room and says, we need to fight the turtles. You just be like, wait, turtles?
Hold on,
Yeah,
We're gonna be
that seems like a
fighting
terrible
turtles.
name for a gang. Then again, there was that gang that called themselves the Warriors and the Baseballers and all that.
Warriors! Oh my gosh.
That's the best.
I think probably the best reference to that has to be in regular shows when like the Wicked Rickets or whatever.
Yes. When they want you to stop talking on your cell phone while you're driving.
I mean, or just stop talking on your phone in general. But like honestly, like them not wanting you to talk on your phone while you're driving is probably like the most like malice benevolent thing to ever exist. Because like, hey, you could kill someone by doing that.
Yeah, and then they try and kill him because regular show is a good show.
Yeah.
I just love regular shows. It's like, oh, here's a very benign problem. Let's turn that up to 11 real quick.
Yeah. Well put, Paul. That sounds like it would be an interesting topic for my next series retrospection.
Ooh. Okay.
Maybe.
Hey, let's turn this up to 11.
Maybe. 2008's Hulk. I saw 2008's Hulk, starring Edward Norton.
Yeah, I heard about this one as well.
Paul, you look confused.
Is that the one where he like spends most of his time, like the beginning of the movie, in like Brazil or just South America?
Yeah, he lives in a third world country, which is ironic since he's trying not to get angry. That's not my joke. That's someone else wrote that joke, but I'm like, I do love it. Yeah, and he works at a bottle factory, and then he gets cut, and then the government tracks him down, and then he goes to New York, and then he finds his girlfriend, and then he destroys a helicopter, and then he goes through some surgery to make himself not the Hulk, and then this other guy makes him
happens.
the Hulk, and then he's got to be the Hulk again, and then he doesn't kill him because his girlfriend told him not to, and then he just leaps off into the angry sunset.
Excuse me, but when you're fighting someone whose literal name is the Abomination,
Yeah.
do they have rights to live?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends.
What do you mean it depends?
Depends.
Depends on what exactly? Tell
Well,
me.
some people would say that every single life has value, no matter how small.
This is really big, though. This life is really annoyingly big.
Oh, could you imagine?
Big and in our face.
Could you imagine the inverse square law of life, where the bigger you are, the less your life matters?
Yeah. My life would matter a lot then because I'm small.
Yeah. And then it'd be like, fuck all the whales. The whales are just terrible.
Yeah, anyway. Whatever. Let's continue going
Yeah,
on. So,
it's whales, whatever.
Whales,
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I can think of. And then I wanted to talk about video game reboots, but the more I look at it, like, compared to movie reboots, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
When I look at most things that are described as reboots, it's the same thing. It's same characters, same continuity, same sort of area, but it's done in a different way.
yeah, like,
There's a lot of things that I can't call a reboot. God of War 2018, third-person adventure game. Really good. Different voice actor to play Kratos, different graphics, different setting, good bosses, all of that.
New boy.
He's a child now. He's got a child now.
Yes.
Boy.
But it's the
His name
same.
Atreus. I shall call him boy.
It's the same continuity.
Same kind of
So that doesn't work. Doom 2016. Again, I cannot call that a reboot, even though it says it's a reboot, because it all follows the same timeline with the same Space Marine just ripping demons to shreds here and there, and then they trick him into collapsing a temple on himself, so then they can seal him away and lock him in a casket in hell.
Probably that's one of my favorite things.
That's
about,
the most badass thing ever.
Yeah, that's
He's so awesome at killing things that they're like, we're going to lure him into a trap and we're going to collapse a temple on top of him and then hide him away so he doesn't bother us anymore.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's probably one of my favorite things about the Doom series, though, is because they're like, oh, demons are like, okay, we can't kill him. What are we gonna do? It's like, well, he's literally called the Doom Slayer, and this one guy called the Betrayer gave him some shiny armor that gives him more energy when he kills us, so therefore he has, like, potentially infinite energy. What do we do? Okay, first, we gotta challenge him to a battle mano a mano, no armor. Then we trap him. Like, how do we do that? With stone. You realize this dude can, like, punch our skulls with stone.
Yeah. Well, there were some blood magic seals on that or whatever and all that.
Honestly, like, my favorite thing about that is, like, when the demons invaded Earth originally because the humans found Doomslayer's, like, stuff.
Yeah.
And the demons were like, don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't open that.
They say that they guarded it with more ferociousness and atrocity because it's basically like, you kill us, that doesn't matter. You let him out, it's gonna be real bad for everybody.
Honestly, like, one of my favorite things though is, like, I watched, like, the gameplay for, like, Doom Eternal.
Oh, the QuakeCon Doom Eternal thing.
Yeah,
it's so amazing. I love it so much.
But yeah, it's just him just, like, walking through, like, an area full of, like, human
walking
scientists.
through humans. And even humans look at him like, oh god, oh damn, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh god! Oh god!
geez.
Is my neck still attached to the rest of my body?
Yeah, like, seriously, like, and this, like, the guy, like, at one point, the Doomslayer at one point, like, there's a guy with a key card on his neck, so Doomslayer doesn't even take the guy's key, just drags him to the...
Grabs him by the key card around his neck, slowly drags him to the thing, and then slides it, and then just lets him go.
And then at one point, this one, like, random Marine's like, hey, who are you? You can't be here?
Yeah. And then he just holds out his hand, takes his gun, and then is just like, excuse me, ladies, I got stuff to
I
kill.
just like to imagine, like, the conversation after that. It's just like, he took your gun. Yeah, I know he took my gun. What the hell was I gonna do?
Yeah. It's like, I gotta go. It's like, why? It's like, this suit is full of pee. It's airtight and, like, this is a terrible bit. I shouldn't keep doing this. My basic joke was just gonna be that there's no exit, so, like, the pee traveled upwards. It's like, I'm swimming in my own pee.
But yeah, like, the Doomslayer, the demons gave him that nickname.
Yeah.
It wasn't the humans. Like, and also, I think this was before he was blessed with by a seraphim.
Oh yeah.
Like, the seraphim, like in, like, the beginning of Doom 2018, where you just hear, 2016 or something, I don't know what year it was, but, like, the newer Doom.
Yes.
Like, in it, like, the one that's saying, like, they are evil, corrupt, and wicked, but you will be worse. That's the seraphim saying, yeah, I'm giving you more power, buddy.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to put this mark on you, and you will literally not stop killing until every demon is destroyed. And the guy was just basically like, badass.
Yeah.
And also the thing is, though, like, even without his armor, Doomslayer is just like...
He's superhuman, even without the armor.
Oh no, like, nothing nothing earthly nor hell can pierce his skin without the armor. Like, it's discussed, if there's a canonical difficulty for Doom, it would just be, you put your right foot in, every demon around you pees their pants and then hides in the corner while screaming at you to go away, please go away.
Dude.
Stop, please go away. Why are you ripping out my ribcage? Stop.
He's the best. And
I remember, like, there's this one debate over, like, who is better, Master Chief or Doomslayer, and people say, oh, well, Master Chief's faster. They forget one thing. Doomslayer likes it. Doomslayer likes slowly ripping out the enemy's eyes. It's like, it brings a smile on his face. He hates them so much. That's why he's slow and just like has like poorer tactics.
Yeah.
When really he just like, I enjoy this.
It's like, if I'm strong enough to just not strategize and just brute force my way through everything, and that involves me putting my fist directly through your sternum.
You'd probably enjoy it more.
Yeah, no, I'd enjoy it more.
Yeah, I would, for sure.
If I had the power to walk through bullets, just slug everything off, and then just grab someone by the face and then just... I'd enjoy it way more. Yeah. I don't have to strategize, I don't have to think, just go, fist, face, organs. I'd be good.
Fist, face, organs. Step 1, fist. Step 2, face. Step 3, organs. Step 4, profit.
Lovely.
Do it in a nutshell.
Yeah, do them in a nutshell. Okay. This is a fun talk about reboots. Frankly, there are video game reboots that I could talk about, but we need time for our second bit today.
All right.
We got a new segment coming up after this short commercial break, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be right back.
Awesome.
And you're listening to WNYO on 88.9 FM, Oswego, New York. This is Laker Radio, your music, your way. This is Will's Fantasy Hour, and I'm still your host, DJ William. Welcome back, everybody.
No, you're not. You're an imposter.
What?
I've heard that voice before. I knew it. You're the iceberg all along.
We figured him out. Come on.
Yes, you got me, and I would have sunk in that ship too if it weren't for you meddling kids in your X-ray glasses.
Oh my gosh.
Boy. Well, that's a better start than the beginning of this show, that's for sure.
No, that's definitely.
We're up in the quality, boys.
Up in the quality. All right. And to further up the quality, I say it's time for a new segment on this show. How does that sound?
Really good.
It's got debate. It's got fantasy. It's got issues. It's got...
It's got debate. It's got fantasy. It's got issues. It cries. It all the things it wants.
Yeah, it
Just
cries
like a college
as an
student.
existential crisis. It binge eats.
It's just like a college student.
Yeah, just like a college
It
student.
binge watches. It stays up late for no apparent reason, only to realize it has very important subject matters to discuss early in the morning.
And it wants to see its family. Because it has no time.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So, welcome to the newest segment on Will's Fantasy Hour, which I'm going to call Class Warfare.
Ooh.
I don't have an intro for this, but I'll figure something out maybe for next time.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what is Class Warfare, you ask?
I didn't ask, but I was about to.
Thank you, Paul. I'm glad you asked. So, the way Class Warfare is going to work is that whenever we have this segment, I'm going to examine a game of some kind. If it has different classes, like, let's say, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
We're going to examine the classes on their individual levels. We're going to judge them. We're going to say, what's the best and what's the worst?
I don't know why, but like just the statement "we're going to judge them" has just been kind of ruined for me. It's like just feel like don't be judging me or whatnot. It's like we're going to judge them. We're going to their hair whack, their gear whack, their foot stance whack, the way they don't like to smile whack. Me, I'm tight.
Nah, I'm whack.
I'm whack.
Nice.
Me, I'm whack.
Oh boy. But now you've got the guy
whack.
who is somewhat of a nerd, but also has never played Dungeons and Dragons before in his entire life.
Yeah.
So this is going to be perfect for me.
Cool. So, on Class Struggle, we're going to be examining
The struggle?
Class Warfare. It's either Class Struggle or
I
Class
like
Warfare.
that class struggle. This class,
It's more of a struggle.
it's more of a class struggle cuddle. You know what I mean?
All right, it's Class Struggle now.
Yes.
So on Class Struggle, we're going to be taking a piece of media, most likely games. We're going to be examining the different classes that are available to you, judging them based on play style, strength, relevance, and we're going to decide which one's the best and which one's the worst, either from a purely statistical perspective or from our own personal perspectives. And we'll begin today with Dungeons & Dragons 5e.
Right.
All right. So, Tom, you said you've never played Dungeons & Dragons before.
No, I have not.
So let's break it down for you. In Dungeons & Dragons, there are about 12 classes that you have at your disposal with different customizable options. Those 12 classes are the Barbarian, the Bard, the Cleric, the Druid, the Fighter, the Monk, the Paladin, the Ranger, the Rogue, the Sorcerer, the Warlock, and the Wizard.
I've definitely heard some of those before.
Now,
Definitely.
judging all of them case by case would take way longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, 'cause
and
it's
maybe this
12.
should have been its own episode. Maybe I should have made this its own episode, but you know what? Too late to back down now.
Quick little just...
Let's do a quick little
what
thing.
do we got?
So instead, I'm going to take the 12 classes and break them up into 6 2v2 matches, and we're going to take similar classes and we're going to break them down and see, in my opinion, and in your opinions maybe, which one is better. All right. So we'll start off with magic users. We've got the sorcerer versus the wizard. So, Tom, they both cast spells, and they both have access to the same pools of spells. What makes them different? I'll tell you. Sorcerers cast spells based on inner magical potential. It all comes from within, from their background, and from their pure force of will. Sorcerers mainly use charisma to cast spells, which is not something you would think ties into magic. The way the book explains it is that they are exerting their will onto the universe, making it bend to their thing. But I like to imagine it as most charisma things are, where it's basically just leaning up to a bush and going, hey, and then it bursts into flames.
You seduce the magic out of your hand.
What's happening, girl? And then just bursts into flames.
So,
Exactly. So sorcerers learn the same spells with different proficiencies. Sorcerers have many different backgrounds that can affect their certain powers. Everyone gets different subclasses, and I think that's going to be the main deciding factor for me. So, sorcerers, they can have dragon blood, which allows you to pick a different dragon, because there are multiple colored dragons, and then depending on which color you choose, you get a proficiency with that elemental damage. So if you picked a red dragon and you deal fire damage, you deal additional fire damage. You'll gain resistance to that element as well, which is a little counterintuitive, because let's say, for example, that you knew you were taking a quest to the frozen tundras of Arkuk, and you're going to be fighting some Yetis. You're like, okay, the Yetis resist cold. I should also want to resist cold, but it's very cold. But if I do proficiencies in cold, then I am dealing cold, which they're not, which
But then
they're strong
if you're
against.
proficient in fire, you're weak to the Yetis.
Yeah, so that's a trade-off. Okay.
Yeah.
They do elemental damage, and at a certain level, they get wings.
Ooh.
That's really cool. Favored souls are basically clerics. You get access to the cleric domains. We'll talk more about those later. Access to some divine spells.
We have 12 minutes.
I know. They can attack better, which is stupid because you're a sorcerer, and all you've got to attack with is stick.
Yeah.
Other people have swords, axe, bows. You get stick. And you don't want to put points into strength because you need constitution to keep your hit points up. You need dexterity because you're not wearing any armor. And you need charisma to cast the spells. So that doesn't make sense. You still get wings, though. You get, like, divine angel wings or bat wings if you're evil. So that's pretty darn cool. Then there's node sorcerers, which can detect magic. They can cast counterspell. They can cast magic even if they're in an area that limits magic, such as them being silenced, or in an area of null magic, which that's pretty cool. And they can use multiple meta magic feats at once. Meta magic feats are the thing that allows you to cast a spell further, for longer, more powerful, without talking. You can, usually it means that you'll have to use it at one level below what it would normally be. But the trade-off can usually be very good. And then storm mages can fly and use lightning and such. And then there's wild mages, which basically says, okay, I know you wanted to cast that spell, but we're going to make you do some additional crazy stuff. And sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
wait, aren't the warlocks like, oh yeah, we want you to do like magic via face stuff. Also, sacrifice your firstborn child.
Yeah, it's not good.
Damn.
Sorcerers, in my opinion, are worse than wizards. Because wizards, well, the sorcerer's background is very interesting. A lot of it deals with elemental damages, and at the higher levels of, let's say, any campaign, if you're going up against, like, giants, golems, gods, dragons, whatever, a d6 of extra elemental damage will not serve you very well. And flying is really cool, but I don't know if it's as cool as it possibly could be. Wizards, on the other hand, you become a team player. You can specialize in any of the 12 magical schools. We don't have a lot of time to talk about them all. We actually have no time to talk about them all. Because, wow, I really shouldn't have talked about reboots for so long.
That's what I mean.
I should have saved this for a different day. It should have been his whole thing. I apologize. But 12 schools, each one with their own benefits, including being able to summon stuff better for longer. Wizards make you a team player, honestly. Sorcerers can deal damage. Wizards make you team players. you have much more control over things. You can cast spells that give you shields, actually, and shields that recharge every single time you cast spells, which is very insightful, and I quite like it. So that's why I think wizards are better than sorcerers.
I was gonna say the opposite way around because I'm more of like a solo guy myself. In real life and in games, most of the time I'm solo, and I love having the ability to deal more damage. So I'd probably prefer sorcerer.
Fair enough. Okay. Barbarians versus warriors. Okay. So these are the heavy hitter classes. These are the ones that get up in your face and do the most amount of damages. Barbarians have less armor. But they trade this off for higher attacks, strengths, and criticals, meaning that as they progress, they'll deal more damage, get better critical hits, and they can get critical hits instead of just on a 20, on a 19 or even an 18 at their highest level. Then it depends. Then there's their proficiencies, which change how you want to rage out, because barbarians can rage, which makes them even stronger. And at some point, if you take fatal damage, you can just not die, which is awesome. So
at that point, it's not fatal damage.
Yeah. Barbarian specialties, you can have the cannibal, where you're a hungry boy.
Hungry boy.
Yeah, while you're raging, you can bite people, and then they get super scared and run away.
Isn't that like the totem of like the Storm Master, which is just, lightning?
I will get there.
He's got it.
Sorry.
Yeah. For cannibals, you can bite people to make them scared, and you can also rip the hearts out of any enemy that you freshly killed, eat it, and then get all your health back.
Awesome.
You can only do it once a day, but that's pretty cool.
I want it.
Yeah. As an ancestral guardian, your ghost boy, you can summon ghosts that don't do a ton of extra damage, but they can take the hit for your opponents, and they can help you increase your accuracy and do a little bit of extra damage in combat.
Not bad.
That's pretty cool. As a battle rager, you're the spiky boy. You get spiky armor, and you can use that to run into people, do an extra little bit of spiky, pointy damage, and it makes grabbing you really hard. And if you grab someone and squeeze them real hard, it does extra damage, and your throws are better. It's
Nice.
not super exciting, but it's something.
Sounds exciting to me. Not really.
The Berserker skill tree, which just makes you a better battle rager, where it's everything that I said, that you can use spiky armor and all of that, but also Undying Rage and Rage even harder. Like, that's really cool. Yeah. As the Storm Herald, you're Weather Boy, and you have the ability to surround yourself in an aura of fire, lightning, or ice, which means that on contact, at lower levels, your hits will do extra fire, ice, or lightning damage. At higher levels, you'll create an aura around you, which means anybody who gets into contact will take the damage. You'll be able to survive in the certain elements. So, for example, in deserts, you won't experience heat or thirst. In tundras, you won't feel cold. And in lightning, you're, grounded and keep balance. Yeah. And at higher levels, you can even pass on your aura enchantments to fellow allies, which is quite useful. Then, as the Totem Warrior, you're the Furry Boy, where you can embody the aspect of different animals that give you special abilities when raging, and you can even summon those animals at higher levels to fight alongside you.
You've already turned me off by saying furry boy.
Well, that's why I used Furry Boy. So finally, as a zealot, you're the Altar Boy, and you can use and you can use holy or unholy powers as a chosen of God to.
Wait, as a berserker, this is an option?
Yeah, berserkers can become zealots, which gives them holy or unholy powers, which allows them to hit harder and protect yourself using shields.
I'll take your whole stock.
Yeah. And then warriors, compared to that, don't get anything that's really that interesting. As a battle master, you get superiority die, which that sounds so pretentious.
Yes, I shall roll my superiority die.
Yes, I'm much better than you. I have a better
They're D6s, which allows you to do special moves, such as tripping, gut punching, ordering allies, making critical shots, making disarming attacks. There's a lot of stuff that it does, a lot of stuff that I can't go into, but it's
my superiority dice.
It's a superiority die, yes.
Yeah.
It starts as a D6, and then it works itself up to a D8 and then a D10, meaning that its effects get better and better as you get better and better. But it just sounds so pretentious.
Yeah.
Champions are boring, because what it basically means is that you get a better critical hit chance, and then also you can regenerate a certain amount of HP as long as your hit points are under 50%. It's not a lot. It's hard for me to condense everything into one character in a sentence, especially when we've got so little time left, but I'm doing my best. Then there's the Eldritch Knight, which Do you want to be a badass warrior, but also learn wizard spells up to level 3?
Yes. I
Well,
would
congratulations. You've wasted a specialization tree. Look, if you're a warrior and kicking butt is not doing it, casting a minor magic missile spell as a first level wizard isn't going to help. You know, a little.
Fair enough.
And to be fair, you get things that make people more susceptible to your attacks, but cool. Making someone more susceptible to me throwing a rock to their face doesn't change the fact that I just threw a rock at their face, which is like, maybe it hurts, but it's a minor annoyance at best.
But I threw a rock at their face.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
I threw a rock at their face.
Yes.
Their face has a rock in it.
It has a rock in it.
Yes.
It's embedded now.
That's the kind of thing you'd experience if you played tabletop RPGs.
Then
Fair enough.
Then there's fencers where, hey, you know all those points you put into strength and constitution to hit stuff? Now you're going to become a dandy fencer. You increase your dexterity.
On guard.
You get finesse, which means that you have advantage rolls on light one-handed weapons that have blades. Which, by the way, a majority of creatures have slashing immunity or slash resistance because it's like, is slashing a skeleton really going to hurt it that much?
Yeah.
No, you club that sucker to death.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember one time I was playing, and me and my friends were like, hey, here's this like a muddy river that has like some rocks at the bottom. At least, so our idea went from attacking the skeletons, just picking them up and just throwing them over the bridge, and it worked.
Yeah, that is something. Yeah. But yeah, as a fencer, you just become better and better with blades until, I will admit, at max level, you can use a two-handed weapon with finesse. So that's cool, but I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, it's nothing. Purple Dragon Knights. Holy crap. They're called Purple Dragon Knights. You think that sounds cool?
It does.
It's not. First of all, to be a Purple Dragon Knight, you have to be specialized. You have to be specialized into one specific type of knight, and they waste a super cool name to where basically all you do is that you get paladins and knights to respect you a little bit more, and you can raise the initiative and attack rolls of your allies. Just the tiniest bit. It's not enough, I feel like, that's worth specializing into the entire thing.
Oh, that's a sad.
And then finally, there's Weapon Master, where you just get stronger, tougher, and more awesome with weapons. You do more damage, you crit harder, you can attack more. It's solid. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of classes in D&D that I can't go over.
Yeah,
I
was
really
gonna say.
misbudgeted our time. I want to apologize.
Hey, but what I think we should do is continue this next week.
We could continue this next week.
Definitely continue
Indeed,
it.
that sounds
and
like
go
a good
more
idea.
into depth and take up the entire episode. Which is
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So, to clarify in this one, in the battle between wizards and sorcerers, if you want stronger, better metamagic feats, you go with wizards. If you want more character-driven content, where you get elemental bonuses and just look like a totally cool dude, you choose the sorcerer. Same goes with barbarian versus warrior. If you want the big, strong, bulky damage dealer, you take the barbarian. If you're boring, and this is your first time playing D&D, and if you want something simple that requires no thought whatsoever, you take the warrior. Or the fighter, as they like to be called. It's a little disappointing. But hey, fighters do what they do best, and someone's got to eat up all that face damage so that the rogues can get behind and backstab.
Literally eat up all that face.
Eat
damage.
up the damage.
I have to say though, it's kind of hard to tank in tabletop RPGs because I mean, there's no real like mechanic for
There's
it.
taunting.
There's taunting. Yes, you can do that, but that's like not necessarily like I don't know. It's just like it's much easier in a video game where there's like actual like hard coded in like aggro ranges and stuff like that.
I would love an ability in D&D that's basically you flip off everything. You make a rude gesture in whatever language you can, and if people understand it, they immediately attack you.
I was like imagine like if you do a rude gesture, but like it's considered like a nice gesture, and like the enemies, so they're like, all right, cool, thanks, man, and they just don't attack you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's done with the show for the night. It's 11 o'clock. Thank
Just
you,
on
everybody,
the
for
dot.
joining us, and this was really fun. Next week, we'll go more into depth with the class struggle. We've got 8 more classes to go through, so we've got some very interesting topics to talk about. So don't go anywhere, and have a good night. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your week, and remember to stay fantastic. Good night.
Good night.